everyone, this is Best House Signature, and I'm so happy to have you all here. Yes, first and foremost, I would like you to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and please put on the notification buttons so that whenever we upload any video, you'll be the first person to see the video. Invite your friends that is interested in sewing, and also anybody that you know, invite them to click on this channel, subscribe to this channel, and put on your notification button. Yes, we are going to start with very easy steps. Yes, if you want to learn fashion designing, it's very easy. That is, if you put your mind to it, trust me, it's easy. Within a few months, you'll be able to get some things. All these big styles that you see on social media, trust me, you're going to know how to make them easily, in a fine and easy way. Trust me, oh, yes, I mean it. That is if you put your mind to it. So, before we get started, we are going to start on a so, like I said earlier, we are going to start from the normal body cutting. Like if you want to cut a tops or a gown, this is the normal measurement. We are going to start teaching from the normal measurement, the way you are going to cut it. Trust me, it's very easy to do, and it's very easy to cut and to sew. Now, the first thing you are going to consider is your wrong side of the measurement. You are going to fold your wrong side of the measurement into two. Yes, we cut the wrong side of the measurements, not the right side of the measurement. Yes, so the wrong side will be facing you. Like this fabric now, this is the wrong side and this is the right side. So I folded it into two because I'm cutting the front part. So if I open it now, it will be like this. It will just be in front like this. So I'm still going to cut like this. So I'm still going to cut like this to the back, then I'll add the zip allowance. That's where the zip allowance now comes in. So now let's start with the front part. Now, to avoid wastage of your fabrics, you fold your material based on the measurement of that person to avoid wastage of fabrics. So now, what we are going to do now, the biggest size, you consider the biggest size of the person measurement. The biggest size, what I'm trying to say now is that if the hip of the person is 40, the waist is 20 something, the bust is 30 something, we can see that the bust is the biggest part, because like I said earlier, I'm trying to cut the gown. So now the biggest side is 40, so the hip now is 40. So it's 40. So I'm going to divide the 40 into 4. We divide the body parts into 4, because like I told you earlier, I fold this one into 2, another one into 2. That is 4 pieces. So I'm going to divide that 40. We divide all the measurement divided by 4 except the shoulder. So I'll divide, so 40 divided by 4 will give us 10. So I'm going to fold my fabric 10 plus my sewing allowance. I'm going to add seam allowance. I'm going to use 2 inches. Some people use 1, some people use 3, some people even use 1.5. So I'm using 2 inches. I advise you to go for 2 inches. So 10 plus 2 will be 12. So I'm going to fold my fabric to 12. So now, 12 again, 12. So my measurement is 12. So now I'm starting with the shoulder. Don't mind this my pattern. I'm supposed to have removed it. I'm very sorry about that. So now I'm going to measure the shoulder. The shoulder is of the person. You start from the shoulder. The shoulder of the person is 18 inches. So 18 inches divided by 2. We only divide the shoulder and the lap by 2. All other parts is divided by 4, because we only have 2 shoulder and our lap is divided already into 2. So it's divided into two. So now the shoulder divided by two, the shoulder of the person is 18 inches. So 18 inches divided by 2 is 9. You shock your 9. Then you put your seam allowance. You use half inches. Don't forget, half inches for your seam allowance on shoulder, only on shoulder. I use 2 inches for others, but only on shoulder you use half, because you cannot use 2 inches for your shoulder. It will be too much for you. Depending how will the person wear it, you can't even use it. It will be too much. Let's say it will be too much. So I use half inches. So after the half inches, if you notice, our shoulders used to be slant. Our shoulders are not straight. It used to be slant. So therefore, just measure 1 inches for that slanting. Measure 1 inches from this shoulder down. Measure it out like this, 1 inches. Then bring down your slanting down like this. Bring it down. So you bring it down. Then you measure from that your shoulder measurement. You measure your armhole. Your armhole, that is where the hand of the person will come out through. That's your armhole. So I use 8 inches down for my armhole. I think that's the normal. For a normal person, you use 8 inches. If the person is big or something like that, you can use 9 for the person. But normally, for an average normal person, I use 8 inches for the person. So you mark your 8 inches from your slanting of your shoulder. Don't forget, you mark your 8 inches. So now this is my 8 inches here. This is my 8 inches. Yes, this is my 8 inches. So from this my armhole, you measure from this line now. You measure your bust measurement on this line. Don't forget, on this your armhole line. So the bust of that person is 34 inches. Don't forget, I told you we are going to divide everything divided by 4. The bust of that person is 34 inches. So 34 divided by 4 to give us 8.5. 8.5. Don't make any mistake. 8.5. And don't forget, seam allowance is very, very important. Seam allowance, very, very important. Don't forget, I said 2 inches. So 2 inches here. So now you've gotten your bust measurement, the armhole. So now what you're going to do, you join this your armhole, measurement to this your So after doing that, you click it, you connect this line to this line. Then divide this 8 into 2. It will give us 4 to get the middle of this armhole. Yes. Then shock half inches down. Hope you are getting what I'm saying. Shock half inches down. What I want to do is to avoid this armhole to be puffing out, because there are some clothes that you just see, they will sew it, the armhole here will be puffing out. So now I've shocked it, so I'm going to draw this my line down like this. Just watch me. I'm coming to this half inches, so like this. I've shocked it down, then back to where my line is. So this line now, we avoid this puffing, the puffing that I'm talking about. So now the half length, that is where the waist of that person will start from. The half length of that person is 16 inches. 16 inches. 16 inches. Don't forget, seam allowance. I use 1 inch seam allowance for the half length of that person. So it's 70, because when I join here, it's the allowance. That is why I added the 1 inches allowance. But you can decide not to add, because it's a gown. So me, I add just 1 inches. So this is the 1 inches here So from this my line, this is my waistline, this is my waistline, this is my waistline. That is, don't forget, I measure from my shoulder down to my half length. Half length of that person is 17. That is the waistline. So on this line now, waist of the person on this line. So the waist of the person is 27. So don't forget, 27 divided by 4 to give us 6.75. 6.75. This 6.5, 6.75 is somewhere here. Yes, 6.75. You shock it out. Don't forget your seam allowance. Don't always forget your seam allowance. Yes, don't forget your seam allowance. After shocking it out like this, then you connect this like this. Yes, you connect it like this. You connect it. Now the next thing, you measure the length of that person. No, before the length of that person. So now if you want to cut out this blouse out now, you can easily trace it. This is a blouse now, you've already cut the blouse. To get the hip from this waistline, you measure 9 inches. Some people do measure 8 inches, but I think 9 inches is the constant measurement. Get the accurate measurement, 9 inches. So this is 9 inches. This is your hip line. This is your bust line, your waistline, your hip line. Those 3 lines. So now from this your line, you measure the hip. The hip of that person is 40, like I told you earlier. You divide it by 4 to give you 10 inches. So this is 10 inches. 10 inches plus your seam allowance. That's 2 inches. You can see no fabric is left again. So that is your seam allowance. So this is your hip line. So the length of the person now is 39. 39. 39. This is the line. 39 plus your folding allowance, because you are going to fold it down part. You can't leave the cotton line alone, so you fold it. I used to add 2 inches, but normally I left 1 inches here from the waistline, so I'm going to add 1 inches, making 2 inches, 1 here and 1 here. At times you might not add any 1 here, then you just add your 2 straight to this place. So this is my 1 inches now. So here I measure 40. So now to make it a pencil gown, you use the measurement you use for your hip here. You use it here without the same allowance. So now I measure 10 inches for this hip. So I'll come down here, measure your 10 inches, because it is a pencil gown. Because it is a pencil gown, I won't add any allowance. So when you are just sewing, you just sew down from here to this 10 inches. So it will be pencil. If it is not pencil, you just measure the 10 inches. You just go down straight from this line. Just go down straight. That is not pencil. But now it is a pencil gown. So I'm going to shock it like this. So from here, I come down with where my shock is. Then shock like this. I'm coming to this line. Don't forget, it's a pencil dress. This is the hip. Come like this. So this is just the front part of the person. This is the front part of the person, like this front. Now what I'm going to do next is just to place this, cut this out, then place it, fold the material again into 2. You fold the material again into 2, then place this one on it and give it to at the back. don't forget our seam allowance. That is just the difference between the back and the front. So now watch my next video to know how you are going to cut the back of the clothes. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and please click on the notification button. Click on the next video to know the next attempt after this.